we've been discussing so much with this primary, with Iowa, the caucus just a week away, New Hampshire up after that. I think he's somewhere on a bus driving through the farmlands in Iowa. Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who I have been a huge fan of since he took on the establishment, and David Dewhurst, he joins me on the phone, and I don't think it comes by surprise, Senator. And I've always told my audience that I'm really straightforward with everybody. I've really liked your consistent stand for conservatism. And I mean, me personally, I'm supporting you in the primary. I'm supporting you towards your fight for the White House, and it's good to talk with you.
Well, Dana, thank you so very much. Thank you for having me. It's great to be with you, and I am honored and humbled to have your support in the campaign. It is really meaningful, and I'm grateful to have your friendship and your strong, passionate voice for liberty. It is a message that desperately needs to be heard right now, and I think it is being heard more and more every day.
And I know that you're seeing this as you're out there and you're meeting with people, you're talking with them, you're listening to what their concerns are, because back in 2008, after Barack Obama was elected, 2009, the Tea Party movement kicked off. People were angry, and they put a lot of trust in the Republican Party, and a lot of them feel like the GOP squandered it. They feel as though they got, they were shorted, and they're really angry going into this election. How do you temper that anger? What do you say to them?
Well, Dana, that's exactly right, that people are frustrated. They feel betrayed because we keep seeing politicians that promise one thing and then they do something else once they get elected. And that, the stakes are too high. We were told if only we had a Republican House of Representatives, then things would be different. Then we were told if only we had a Republican Senate, things would be different. We got both. Millions of us rose up to make that happen. And nothing's changed. And people are frustrated out of their minds. They've been burned, and the frustration is volcanic. And I think the most important question that the voters are deciding right now is who can you trust? Because, we can't get burned again. We cannot nominate or elect someone again who is merely a campaign conservative, who is just saying conservative things on the trail, but who hasn't walked the walk. And I think, Dana, the reason why so many conservatives are uniting behind our campaign is that they are looking for a consistent conservative, someone who has been the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, someone who you can trust to be a fiscal conservative, a social conservative, a national security conservative. And I think that's why we're seeing conservatives uniting.
I've had your primary opponent, Donald Trump, on my program. Actually, I've had him on more than you've been on. And one of the things that he had said just this past week in an interview, he had said, well, we have to get a little bit establishment in order to make some deals. We got to be able to make deals. And I understand that there's, at least in politics, there is a certain compromise. But at some point, when does compromise mean giving away the whole hog? Little establishment to me means, well, you're establishment. We're just going all establishment. What do you think about the whole deal making process in D.C.?
Well, Dana, it has been remarkable what we've seen the last couple of weeks. We have been seeing the Washington establishment more and more abandoning Marco Rubio, and I think they've determined that Marco can't win, and they are coalescing behind Donald Trump. And, even 3-4 weeks ago, people would have been astonished at that. But the reason when you see people like Bob Dole and Trent Lott coming out and praising Trump, they say, listen, he's someone we can work with. He's someone we can make a deal with, that we can keep doing what we're doing right now, and I think that is exactly the problem. And in fact, Donald Trump has said the difference between him and me is he said Ted won't go along to get along in Washington. He won't cut deals, and I, Donald Trump, will cut deals. I'm going there to cut more deals, and I got to tell you, as I travel the country campaigning, I don't think I've met a single Republican, a single conservative who thinks the problem is Republican leadership needs to cut more deals with the Democrats, needs to give in more to Barack Obama and Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. If you think we need more deals, if you think $18 trillion in debt isn't enough, maybe you should back Donald. But the reason conservatives are uniting behind us is that we're looking for a principled conservative who stands with the people. Look, when it comes to deals and negotiations, the Bill of Rights is not up for negotiation. I'm not willing to bargain away our Second Amendment. I'm not willing to bargain away our religious liberty or our free speech rights or our 10th Amendment, and we need a leader who, like Ronald Reagan, stands with the people, stands with the Constitution, and doesn't just surrender to the Democrats and surrender to bankrupting our kids and grandkids.
Right. One of the biggest issue, I think, this is the immigration election. Immigration has always been a huge issue for voters going forward, but this is the election where it seems so much emphasis. This is at the top of people's concerns, along with national security. And I have followed you on your from when you were elected, after you fought against David Dewhurst, when you went to Washington D.C., and I watched when you stood against the Gang of Eight and that fight. And I also watched the work visas, and I understood, and I don't want to speak for you because I'm going to ask you about that and you speak for yourself, but
sure.
But I understood the tactic and the strategy there, because we had Democrats who were saying, well, at least just let these illegal aliens come in and let's just let them be able to work. And you had said, all right, well, here are work visas, but they can't vote. Because it wasn't about work at all to me, and everything that because I watched C-SPAN. I watched that debate. I watched that debate for 3 days, and I understood it to mean Democrats really just wanted the vote. They didn't care about anything else. Give us some insight on that, because a lot of people have asked you about that issue.
Well, Dana, you're exactly right. It's a battle on stopping the Gang of Eight, the Rubio-Schumer amnesty bill. It was the central moment in the battle over amnesty. It was what Reagan would describe as a time for choosing. And it was striking to see where every candidate who's running for president, where each of them chose to stand. Far too many chose to stand with Barack Obama and Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer and support the Rubio-Schumer amnesty plan, which didn't secure the border, which would have granted amnesty to 12 million people here illegally. I chose to stand with Senator Jeff Sessions, with Congressman Steve King, and with millions of Americans who are fed up with amnesty, who want to secure the border, who want to keep this country safe. And I was proud to lead the fight against the Rubio-Schumer amnesty plan, and with millions of Americans, we defeated that plan. Now, what we're seeing is really quite striking. A number of other candidates, in particular Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, are trying very much to blur the record. And they're trying to blur the record because while I was standing with Steve King and Jeff Sessions and defeating the Gang of Eight amnesty plan, Donald Trump was at the time supporting amnesty. He was publicly supporting amnesty. He was publicly supporting Marco Rubio's Dreamers Act. And in fact, he was criticizing Mitt Romney for being too tough on illegal immigration. And so now, in this presidential campaign, Mr. Trump has discovered that we need to secure the border. Some of us were in that fight and leading that fight before we were candidates for president. And so the efforts to confuse the record, I think, are not effective. My position is very clear. I oppose amnesty, I oppose citizenship, I oppose legalization. And other candidates in this race, Donald Trump, to this day, right now as a candidate for president, still supports amnesty. What his position is with regard to those here illegally is they should be deported, but as soon as they're deported, they get to come back in legally and get on a pathway to citizenship. And that's what amnesty advocates, as you know, because you've followed this debate for a long time, that's what amnesty advocates call touchback. It's something that establishment Republicans have argued for a long time. You fly an illegal alien home, they touch the ground, and then suddenly they get amnesty and become citizens. I don't agree with that. I think amnesty is wrong, and I have always defended the rule of law, and I'll tell you, Dana, as president, I will always defend the rule of law, and we're going to secure the borders and stop illegal immigration if I'm elected president.
And to add on to that as well, that would be spending under what Trump has proposed and some of what I've heard. We're spending a lot of resources for a touchback. We're sending a lot of people back. That's a lot of resources, and that's a lot of money spent just to let those individuals back in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's a version, frankly, of what Barack Obama is doing, which is now when people are deported, the border is so porously secured, they come right back in 2-3 days. I mean, that's not all that different from the Obama approach to immigration, which is to let people back in. I believe in rule of law, and indeed, I've rolled out a very, very detailed immigration plan. It's on our website, tedcruz.org. It is 11 pages, single space, lays out chapter and verse how we will secure the border. We'll build a wall. We'll triple the Border Patrol. We'll increase fourfold the fixed-wing and rotary-wing aircraft. We will end sanctuary cities. We'll put in place a strong E-Verify so you can't get a job without demonstrating you're here illegally. We know how to do this, Dana. What's missing is the political will, because Democrats don't want to secure the border, and far too many Republicans don't want to secure the border. I designed my immigration plan working hand-in-hand with Jeff Sessions and Steve King, and if I am elected president, I give you my word, we will secure the border. We will end illegal immigration. What is missing is the political will, and I will get the job done.
Last question for you, Senator, because I know you got to go shake some hands, and you're in a fight there up in Iowa. I was looking, Channel 13 NBC affiliate out there, WHO TV, has you and Clinton in the lead among Iowa caucus goers, although I know there have been a number of polls. They've kind of been all over the place. Some of the best estimates from places like 538 and others have it very, very close. Give us a little bit information about your ground game and how you're approaching Iowa.
Well, we are running very much a grassroots campaign. We will on Monday complete what's called the full Grassley, which is going to all 99 counties in Iowa, and we are asking for the support of the men and women of Iowa. We're standing in front of them. We're answering their hard questions, which is, I think, the respect that the voters deserve. And we have a grassroots army. We've got over 12,000 volunteers in Iowa. We have over 200,000 volunteers nationwide. And nationally, we've had over 700,000 contributions. People going to tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org, supporting the campaign. Now, we're in the final stretch. We are 150 hours from the Iowa caucuses, 150 hours. In fact, I just saw the clock. It is now 149 hours from the Iowa caucuses that will occur next Monday night. And what I would say to every one of your listeners, if you're in Iowa, this election, it is your time. Please come out in caucus and bring 10 of your friends. If you want a strong conservative candidate, this race is effectively a two-man race between me and Donald Trump. The polling numbers show that overwhelmingly, and it's neck and neck. It is essentially a tie. This is a turnout battle. If conservatives show up and we stand together, we will win the Iowa caucuses. We will win the nomination. We'll turn around to win the general. And I believe to undo the damage of the last 7 years, we need to nominate and elect a Republican as committed to conservative principles as Barack Obama has been to liberal principles. And so I would ask every one of your listeners in Iowa, please come out next Monday night, caucus for us, bring your friends. You can find out more information at tedcruz.org. And everyone outside of Iowa, if you have friends in Iowa, pick up the phone and call and ask them. It is all about turnout. And Dana, let me finally say I am so honored and proud to have your endorsement, to have your support, to have your friendship, and to have your tremendous voice for freedom in a time when our country is in crisis. It is now or never, and conservatives are coming together and uniting and fighting to bring back our country, and I believe that's exactly what we're going to do.
Well, Senator Ted Cruz, God bless you, and I'm proud that and I've told people this. I've always been a fan of your consistent conservatism. You, to me, I mean, I come from the Ozarks. You really best, to me, embody those flyover values. And I appreciate your fight because this has been a story of David and Goliath. You're a godly man. And you've, as I said, you've been consistent. So we're praying for you. We're pulling for you. I am in Iowa, and we're going to stay tuned and watch how everything unfolds. God bless you. Safe travels.
Fantastic. Thank you, and God bless.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much. Senator Ted Cruz.